open this meeting of the Gilliam County Court regular meeting this Wednesday, February 21st. It is about 8 minutes after 10. First order of business is the flag salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was going to chew at the end.
All right. Did any of you have maybe some additions or revisions to the agenda? I don't have anything this time.
Steve, I can't hear you.
Okay. How's that? Is that better? Huh?
Is the 1 o'clock still on?
You know, I thought we might go ahead and at least have some discussion at that time. If we have some questions that come into our mind, we could call Joe. Based on the information that was sent out to us last night, we still haven't got the finalized contracts. But I still think we should have some discussion on it. So yeah, it still is, just Joe is not going to be here, unless we feel the necessity to give him a call. Okay, there being no additions or revisions to the agenda, next we have public comment. Individuals wishing to address the county court on items not listed on the agenda may do so at this time. And at any other times during the meetings, speakers are asked to raise your hand and be recognized by the chair for direction. Give name and address and limit comments from 3 to 5 minutes. So, go right ahead.
So I'm Kathy Griner, City Administrator, City of Condon, 128 South Main Street. The City of Condon would like to submit a proposal for project management and administration of the joint fiber project at the next Gilliam County Court. The city has done some preliminary discussion with staff, council, and consultant and did not want to throw this together without thoughtful consideration and discussion with our professional staff. And here's two of the points that are being fleshed out. One is project management. Although we believe that inland development does not object to 2 project managers, it would be more efficient to have 1. We recommend hiring Adam Haas as our telecommunication consultant. Adam is an independent contractor and has no contracts for services, construction, or otherwise with any of the parties currently involved: Inland Development, Windwave, Frontier Telenet, Q-Life, Eastern Oregon Telephone Company, Home Telephone, or any others. Adam will not be a competitor or a customer of the dark fiber being secured by our agreements. So we consider him to be a totally independent project manager, and we'll get his qualifications to you. The city anticipates that the project manager duties will be narrow and consist primarily of milestone requirements, and financial payments are made timely. If we have 1 project manager, we propose that the cost be split. The financial payments is the second part of this proposal, going to be second part. Inland Development has made it known that they would like to have 1 check or 1 payment instead of 2 from each of the contracts. In a discussion with our auditor, Glenn Kearns of Acuity, LLC, this can be done within our current budget and not require a supplemental budget. We can also then budget for this project in the 2018-19 budget, and we could take the payments in and pay them out based on the project manager's recommendations. What would be prudent to have is a simple IGA completed by our municipal attorney stating how the funds would be paid and when. This agreement could also add in the agreement of a project manager. If the city does the financial management of the grant, we anticipate no cost to the county in that part because we have to do it anyway. So those are the 2 things. We'll have a fully fleshed out proposal, hopefully at the March 7th meeting. And hope we will get it to you a week before. We don't want to spring it on you the day before. Thanks.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anybody else? Public comments? Okay. All right, there being none, we're just a couple minutes late then. Our next order of business is Jennifer Gold and Condon Child Care. Request for disbursement of earmarked funds for the Early Learning Center capital project.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
So,
Is there a fire too?
Yeah, there is.
She's on my board.
here, I'll let you use the answer.
I wanted to give you some updated information after meeting with my board last night and reviewing our added plans. We came up with some revisions and just to clean it up a little bit. Thank you. And I'll make sure we have this one. There we go. Anybody else want one? You want one? I did do an updated one, Leanne.
An updated one.
Yeah, right there.
Sorry, okay, so
Why don't I?
Okay, Jennifer, we had earmarked roughly $150,000 for this project. It was dependent on, what your abilities to get more grants
Yes,
and,
sir.
lower that amount. And so I'll turn everything to you. So.
Okay, we started this project 2 years ago with the intention of this being an $800,000 project. We are now at a bit closer to $1 million on that. I've had some good success in fundraising. I've had some good success in getting some rather sizable grants. Some of our grants have not come through as anticipated. Meyer Memorial Trust would be one example of a grant that we did not get that last cycle, and we will try on that again. But we are at the end of the project, and what I gave you is an amended this morning. The $181,694.33 is where we're at for our final cost for the end of the project. So, and we owe Rutherford Construction a little bit under $100,000 as our final payment upon completion of the project. Right now, final completion is weather dependent. All we have left to do are the grounds, the landscaping, the sprinkler system, installing the playgrounds, but right now that's a little difficult. But the building is completed. So, and we looked at filling a 4,000 square foot building. It's a little bit more than I anticipated because we've been in such tight quarters for so long that realizing all of the stuff that we actually do need has been more than I had planned on. I'm working with some partners right now. Umatilla Morrow County Head Start has agreed to purchase our sandbox for the playground. And we are currently working with them right now on buying the tables for our cafeteria, which each one of those tables is about $1,500. So yeah, early ed stuff is very, very expensive. We are currently selling some of the stuff that we aren't taking over with us, and we've had good success with donors choose. Those projects have to be carefully planned out because they won't benefit our infant chocolate program, just preschool school age program. So at the end of the day, we are still $181,694 shy. We have more fundraisers coming up. We went over those last night. We have a 50-50 raffle coming up at the Tumbleweed Tournament. We'll be doing concessions for the softball tournament, still doing our fireworks fundraiser over the 4th of July, so, and our carnival booth. So we're still steadily working on raising funds. We just haven't been able to secure some of the larger grants that I had hoped we would get.
Quite a little bit of confusion here because it says actual at 805,000 and then you say you're short 181.
Right. So on actual, that's
Actual is not actual.
but that's what we've spent so far. We have no more money to spend.
Okay, that's
So
what
when
we
you look at the
spent.
difference on your final line item, like
Okay.
permits, taxes, and inspections, there's 1530 still budgeted for that because we still have final inspections prior to opening.
Okay.
So we'll still have more expenses in that line item. And the same thing with the materials, like the furniture and the playground, like we're not gonna be able to buy anything that we don't have money for. So that's why you still have your final column at what our difference is.
Okay.
It's a pretty exciting project, I'm very excited to move into the building. It's beautiful.
Come see.
Oh, yeah, anytime. Anytime you'd like to come see it. I'm in the beginning stages of planning a grand opening. We were hoping to move over spring break, but if this weather does not cooperate, we will have to push our move time again, which of course is increased cost to us because then we have to maintain that building and where we're currently at. We currently pay the school district $750 a month to rent space from them, so.
So this is the expense part, where's the revenue part to this?
That was in
budget?
the other piece that I already emailed out to you guys last week,
Okay.
and it should be in your packet. And it was a budget sheet from January 1st of 2016.
It's not in our documents.
It should have been.
I saw an email, but I probably didn't get that far into it.
Okay, yeah, it was from January 1st, 2016 to current, to like 12/8 of 2018, and everything that's been spent and brought in. 2018. From 1 of 2016, when we started the project, to this month, to 2 of 2018.
I had a question in the audience.
Lori Anderson, and I just wanted to know how much the county has already provided to this project, and then the $150,000, I think I was at that meeting, and that was just a request for a grant as a placeholder, so other grants would be released, and the child care said they wouldn't need it at that point, so I just wanted to see if that's, if I have it clear in my mind, so that instead of saying it was earmarked for them.
Yeah, it was just exactly what you said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, the county contribution has been in kind from the road department at $25,000. That's what's been spent by the county on the project.
Thank you.
$25,018 and some change. Did you guys get that piece?
We did. I do remember seeing it.
Okay.
It's not part of our packet here. I think we originally had planned on the second meeting in January.
Yes.
Yeah, and so, yeah. And I think most of the information came out to us at that time.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're, I mean, we basically had said we would help with $150,000. Are you asking for the other $31,694.33?
Would you like to give it to me? Because I won't say no.
Yeah.
We are continuing to fundraise.
I guess, the construction shortfall is an important thing that I guess we got to get taken care of. Permits, taxes, I guess, taxes are pretty important for us to look at.
And at this point, I don't know if we'll need any further consultants, but the consultants that I have been using are now in-kinding any further work that they do for me. So I don't know if we'll need additional consultants prior to our final inspections before moving in, so I did leave that in there just in case.
Okay, tell me about the service installation.
And that is installing propane, installing the phone system, installing internet, installing power, having the water connected, all of those installations. That has been, we're not done paying for those yet. So home telephone, we haven't paid for installation yet with them. Columbia Basin did in-kind as half of the cost of installation as their in-kind towards the project.
Okay.
So we still have some costs there to continue to, that'll be in the future to pay for.
Well, the 150,000 is going to be, get you in pretty good shape. You've got the furniture and playground stuff
I don't
That would be-
disagree with that.
where you're going to be short.
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
So, people getting excited.
Yes, very excited. Staff has been over, the kids are taking a field trip on Thursday to go over to the new center. So they're going to pack stuff from their classroom right now and put it in my car. And then Sabrina's gonna send a little bus over and take the kids over to the new center, and they're gonna unpack the car and take it into their new classrooms. So the preschoolers help,
Smart.
right? Yeah, they're helping. Everybody is pretty excited. This Friday, we're gonna do a sneak peek pizza party and have parents come in and help us assemble some of the furniture that we do have, and our cargo trailer that's fully loaded right now, get that unloaded so that we can have some help doing that, and then it doesn't all just fall to staff to try to build everything. So we said, if you bring toolboxes, we'll bring pizza.
And just as board members, we've all been very, very happy with everything that Jennifer's been able to do. I mean, she's raised a lot of funds and gotten a lot of grants. So, she's done a great
This is
job.
$975,000 project.
Yeah. And sometimes I lose a
I
little
bet.
sleep over it.
Yeah.
25,000 is what we put into it, so 950 is, of course, the benefit. It's a short, we're still a shortfall.
I think it's a pretty good investment for your dollars.
Yeah.
Well, the big grant you didn't get is where the big hole is.
Yeah. Yeah, Meyer Memorial Trust was a large grant that I really had thought since Collins and OCF and Ford were in, that they would also be in, and they didn't select us that round, so that was
They need to come out
a big denial for me.
and see it. They
Yes.
might change their mind, but
Right?
meanwhile, yeah, but, you know, county, well served by spending money here.
I agree.
I can't disagree with that. Commissioner, that's- yeah. I'm just debating on whether, how much of the, furniture and the playground materials we want to help out with, I guess, or whether we should.
Yeah. That's a good question.
So,
Might be a good amount of money that comes from us on those kind of things would maybe help to get the rest of it.
discussion, what do you think, Leslie?
I think it sounds like a good idea. I'm just wondering, should we start with this and go from there, or do you want to?
No, I wouldn't go to the full amount.
You wanna make
Short.
How about 180?
I'm just kind of, it shows you, project manager short, $7,500. Who is your project manager?
We're looking at her.
Oh,
Okay, I was pretty sure that was the case.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we did have Vernon, and then we had gotten to a point in the project that he felt it was past needing him anymore, and that was in January. And so he has moved on to other jobs, and I've just been doing the finished work on getting the last of the permits and doing that for the final end of the project. But he was helping me the last 2 years. But primarily it's been me doing project management and running the center.
Okay.
And that's my full pay for 2 years.
So in the service installation, Columbia Basin has come in with a half. Did the city come in with anything as far as knocking out? Nothing?
No,
So, okay. What was that cost?
what was that cost?
Did you pay the $1,700 for the water hookup?
Yes. 17.
17 for water and sewer. Okay.
And then I think we paid another 300, was it 300 for some equipment?
Yeah.
For a
the rest of
bobcat
the-
or something
the rest
like
of
that?
Okay, all right. Well, I guess I think it's a great project. I think it's one of the most beneficial things that you can have within the community. It's part of what is the education component. You got to have jobs, you got to have housing, you got to have healthcare, you got to have education, you have the community thrive. This is an important factor within that.
Just another point, I think also is where we're looking at like playground stuff that's still needed. We did get a $5,000
Oh, that's right.
grant through the CCO for a bike path. Because basically we're going to be looking at making sure that childhood obesity rates are looked at and trying to make all the playground stuff ways that the kids can exercise and
Yeah, and
So
this
she's
is
looking at a whole
It'll be a
health
dual
of the
bike
kid.
path, and the materials for that bike path are $3,400. So, and then the installation for both bike paths. So I imagine that 5,000 is pretty much gone.
Right.
But yes, they did
Just get it in part of the actual thing.
I move we approve the $150,000 for the Condon child care to go towards their building project or
A second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to disperse the $150,000 to the Condon Child Care for their construction project, their new building. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Yep. Okay,
We're sending out invitations for the grand opening.
all right. Okay. All right, I see Rob is here, and I'm sure he would like to move on this, and so we'll go ahead and get started, I guess, because we did receive a request for disbursement of funds from the Pioneer Community Development. The request is for $500,000 for the Gilliam County Housing Project. I think we pretty well got all the information that we need. Might we have any questions for Rob here, or? No, I didn't either.
I actually had one question for you folks, just for clarification. It came up in our board meeting on Thursday. It came up in our board meeting last Thursday that at last Wednesday's special court session, that there was a statement made, and I think was probably just made in error, that Pioneer would have to come to the county for approval for each of every project that we do. And that was not what we had agreed.
I don't remember that statement being made.
And I wasn't here, so it
No,
was just,
I don't think it was.
because that was not what we had agreed on. It was that we would report quarterly to the board. and
Yeah,
we-
that's what the MOA
and
says.
Pioneer would approve the individual project.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Again, I wasn't here, so it was just,
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, that's,
So we're excited. I've received another, basically, application request this morning for new construction in Arlington. So
okay,
it's really getting to the exciting point now, so.
good. Well, yeah, I mean, any issues with any of this so far?
No.
Yeah.
I move that we approve the Pioneer CDC request disbursement of $500,000 for fiscal year 2017-2018.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request for disbursement of the $500,000 to Pioneer Community Development Corporation from the 2017-18 fiscal budget. So,
Thank you very much.
any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we'll put that, it should go into, in today's AP, you know, and so it does take us a few days getting through some of that, but it's on its
Well, it's going to take
way.
us more than a few days to go through all the application process.
Right,
So,
right.
We appreciate it. Any questions that anybody on the county court may ever have, you know where to find me.
Good,
Thanks again.
thanks. Okay. Got item 2.6, it's to consider the Oster Professional Group's engagement letter and audit contract for fiscal year 2017-18.
What was last year's cost?
I can find out.
Not much different, is it?
No, it really wasn't. Yeah,
Thing.
but it would be nice to know exactly. This year it's 33,100. I think it was right in that amount last year.
I noticed in the East Oregonian, Pilot Rock was having similar issues with their audit that
Oh,
we
really?
had. They were writing, they wrote their letter of what they were gonna do,
Yeah.
fix things.
Yeah.
It sounded just a lot like where we were at, so it's kind of the same thing with the Secretary of State in their way they're handling,
Things, yeah,
Things.
in this, yeah.
putting the pressure on the auditors.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And,
So we also
right.
have them prepare the MD&A for 6,620.
Yes,
On top
right.
of that.
Yeah, and I was looking for that. Where did you see that?
That's on
I mean,
page
okay.
6.
Okay, I read it, but I just couldn't.
Page 6 on the.
There it is,
middle there.
okay, all right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I brought this up last year, and we're, you know, it looks like this is upon us again, but at what point in time do we want to think about going out to bid on another audit group?
Well, apparently we didn't do it this year.
I know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, next year, do we want to look at that?
I think we should.
Yeah.
It was something that, yes, for lack of a better way to say, bring it up to the budget officer and some of the people that are involved to really feel uncomfortable in changing auditors. But I think we really need to go out for an RFP and actually take a look and see if.
Maybe you won't be so busy next year.
Yeah, that could very well be the case, so.
Seemed like just December, January time frame.
Well,
Kind of overloaded this year.
I think October is really the time to
We don't, yeah,
Yeah.
well, we don't even think about it then because we didn't get anything come to us till
I know.
way later.
So, yeah, but really, most of the time, Commissioner, we have the audit done in September or the first part of October.
Right.
Previous years, that's when they come in. This year, they happen to do it in August, which was a much earlier time than they normally do. Yeah, and so consequently, that sort of, what surprised me though was the amount of time it took to get the letter. I think it was dated December 7th, which we didn't see anything until after, January.
Yeah.
But anyway. So we're talking about,
Yeah. Thank you.
okay. Last year was $43,430. So, total. So
This is less than that.
This is less than that. This is right around 40,000.
I wonder why, are we missing something? I can't imagine.
Yeah, I can't.
No.
That never happens.
Maybe there was.
So, they do perform, I wonder if this figure includes the financial,
No.
Even then, that's still.
It's still less, yeah, but the 6620 is in addition. I mean,
That-
it's still
that-
less.
That number was about the same last year too, I believe. Of that amount,
yeah.
around 6,000, as I remember.
It was, like I remember. I think you questioned it at that time. I remember why it was 6,600.
A year ago, you mean?
Yeah, a year ago.
In Arlington.
In Arlington, yes.
It's kind of hard to argue with them on the cost
Yeah.
until you do put out an RFP, then.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any issues with the job that they're doing.
Well, didn't he say though they've been doing it for 20 years?
Was it just for us or for everybody?
I thought when we asked when he was talking there, he said 20 years.
It has been about.
And, yeah, when I asked last year, I didn't think it was, had been that long, but, yeah, that's just it. I don't know. Where I work, we have to change every few years. Just to have a fresh set of,
Right.
fresh set of eyes and
Right.
something.
Well, I think,
It's worth
maybe,
thinking about.
yeah, I can have Leanne, maybe we'll put a tickler on October or September, that what we're talking about is maybe going out for RFP on new auditors. I think it should be a conversation that sometime after the audit we have with the budget officer and the clerk also,
Yeah.
bring them in. So maybe we can schedule that, let's say, either the second meeting in September or the first meeting in October to have the conversation with them,
Discuss it.
at least discuss it. So,
Okay. So do we need a motion now to just go ahead and approve this?
yeah, we do, to approve the engagement letter.
I move that we approve the engagement letter with Oster Professional Group for fiscal year 2017, 2018. Can we list these prices? In the amounts of $33,100 for the audit and $6,620 to prepare our MD&A.
Yeah. Okay,
Is that enough?
that's good, yeah, I think that's good.
Let's spell out what
Yeah, the-
MDA is.
The management's discussion and analysis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Another acronym.
yeah. I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the engagement letter with Oster Professional Group for the the amount of $33,100 for audit services and $6,620 for management's discussion and analysis.
So that's really two different things,
They are,
the engagement letter and a contract.
and the contract. Okay. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. I'm going to kind of drop down to the, because it's right here on my page first. The Condon School District request for distribution of the budgeted funds that we had. It's in the amount of $400,000, $50,000 for the college program, and $350,000 for operations, I guess.
I move that we approve the Condon School District request for distribution of 2017-18 budgeted funds in the amount of $400,000.
I would like to have it split.
Oh, $50,000 for the college program and the remaining $350,000 for operations.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the request of the allocation of funds to the Condon School District in the amount of $50,000 for the college program and $350,000 for operations. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Well, just a second.
Sorry, yeah, I'll slow down.
I want to remind everybody again of the state's obligation being not done here, and that's why we are doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, good point. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, now I'm going to kind of, I guess, heat up the conversation just a little bit, and I'd like to talk about the Thompson lease on the property. It's not really going to heat up, I guess, but we did run into a bit of an issue in regards to one of the things that happens when you go out and you pour concrete, when you come back, sometimes you don't get everything out of your truck simply because maybe they aren't in a position to handle all that's there, so they come back and they drop them into the eco blocks. Well, we're having a difficult time finding all of those eco blocks. So American Rock, when they moved out, took them with them.
Took the forms you're talking
The
about.
forms, yes.
Cool.
So we're in the process of trying to get a lot of that worked out. Now, Thompson would really like to run a test with the concrete plant, sometime next week, is the end of this week or the first part of next week.
A little chilly.
Yeah, I think it's really too chilly for that, but anyway, without those forms there, they don't really have a place to be able to put what they're planning on doing, so we're scrambling and getting a lot of those brought back. Now, I was assured yesterday that American Rock would have them back by the end of the week. Yeah, it's the number that we're having some issues with. So,
So is Thompson not ready to sign?
they're ready to go, yeah, they're ready to go as quickly as possible.
Okay.
They're, right now, where they're at is they feel that if we don't get these eco blocks back and eco block forms back in time, they're gonna go ahead and buy some so that they have them available there for them to be able to do what they need to do. I don't,
Well,
I was assured I would have them by the end of the week.
I'm glad that somebody decided to use this thing.
Yeah, me too. I think, it's one other thing that I didn't mention the last time, maybe I did, but there's going to be what is known as, well, I call it repowering of the wind turbines. They call it upgrading.
Right.
And I think it really has to do with taxes that might be involved with this. So when they go to do that, they're going to be, they'll take the cell or the turbine off at the top, and then they go in and replace a lot of the gearboxes, and now they say they're not replacing the turbine, but I don't know, it seems kind of odd that they wouldn't at that time. But anyway, they're replacing a lot of that, upgrading it, and then they'll actually put back up on top. When they go to do that, they're increasing the blade lengths, because it would give them more term power. So consequently, there are some changes. I think right now that is in front of the Planning Commission on whether this is going to be something that goes through. We're not sure whether it's to be handled by the state's Energy Facility Siting Council or local planning, so that is being worked out as we speak. So there's changes that are going to be happening. Once these additional blades, new nacelle put on top, they're going to have to change the collar of the tube. So I don't know how they're going to break out the concrete in around it, but they're going to need additional concrete poured in each one of those locations. So it really does benefit Thompson to be in this for a longer period of time than I think they originally thought, 1 year. This could be really a boom to them.
Isn't it 1 year with extensions?
It is 1 year with extensions. Okay. Yeah. So I think they're excited about the opportunities that are here. Again, they plan on having, there's mixing additives that go into this. It's through a company called BASF, and they're supposed to come out the first part of next week, get all these mixing units and everything put together. There's one concern with it, is it's in that, where that water heater location is, where the
trailer?
In the trailer, that container. It hasn't been heated, so we don't know what kind of problems we'll run into there. This is something that is leased from BASF by the concrete company. So what I was told yesterday is that BASF would get this up to working operation, and it wouldn't be at a cost to any of the entities because it's part of the lease agreement. Wanted you guys to be aware of the fact that I didn't realize that this needed to be heated. Keep everything up and going. But, news to me.
Oh.
Until I was, in a conversation. So,
BAS is an international company, heavily into chemicals, ag,
okay.
and all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
I'd certainly be careful.
Okay. Yeah, it really is not going to be dealing with us. It'll be dealing with the.
But if we end up with chemical spills.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's covered in our.
It is. It is.
Right.
We're aware of that. That's good information. That's not something that I knew. You did see the change in the footprint that they were looking to use. I think, in that I was comfortable with what it was that they wanted to do. So,
Was American Rock using that other layout?
I don't think they were, to be honest. Yeah, where the Quonset hub is located.
Right.
Yeah, I don't believe that they were.
Well, and to me, right now, just this layout makes more sense for if they only want an acre.
Right.
And we can always hope the operations expand.
Right. I agree.
Not very likely that somebody else would be very close to them in that.
Yeah.
Unless it turned out to be some associated business.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest with you, I think it's some of the things that I was just talking about, the additional wind project, the upgrading. The term bothers me, so it's the upgrading, it probably will be that they'll look to utilize that additional space in the future. But at least we have somebody in there.
Yeah.
Are we ready for a motion?
I am.
I move we approve the lease agreement with Thompson Brothers Excavating for the lease of the concrete batch plant at our Shelter Station Industrial Park. Or do you say, you want the terms at all in the motion, or just say what the?
You know, I think just, we're approving this document, so
Okay.
Right.
I think,
I'm done.
yeah.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the lease agreement with Thompson Brothers Excavating for lease of the concrete batch plant. Any further discussion? There being none, don't want to rush too quickly. All those in
Right.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You know, when I have people on the phone is when it's, you know, really difficult because you get rushing through that portion of it and somebody will pop in and say, well, wait a second. Okay. Okay. What's I here? So we need to discuss the. Did you guys get through the minutes? Let's take a look at the January 17th.
I did, kind of.
I got 17.
Oh, 17th?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
17.
Yeah, that, I have read those, that was a long time ago.
What's that?
That was a long time ago.
Oh,
I thought we were talking about.
Yeah.
that was our last regular meeting that I hadn't read.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We hadn't had it very long.
It seemed like I saw
Yeah.
something too.
There was, on page 6, there was something that wasn't, something to do with authorizing the judge, Joe Franell, to finalize something. It seemed like there was an extra finalize or something in that.
Yes.
You remember that?
Finalizing.
Yeah.
The word finalized was in there twice?
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
okay.
yeah. Well, it wasn't the same word.
So it's like the
Which one
January
is?
17th reader.
Yeah, but it's, I had page 6, but that may not be the real page 6. But it was on where you and Joe were authorized to finalize. So, and then I have one other one too, get this one figured out.
Is that the first one?
The other one's more serious.
Goes back on a ways.
I've got this. I'm just looking at this one. Search for finalize.
Was that in the 17th or the 7th
That's what I'm
that you're talking about?
17th. I haven't seen the 7th.
Okay.
Okay. I'm on that section. So was it in, okay, I got it. It says open a discussion to finalizing. Okay. Pick out the finalizing, okay.
Okay?
Got that.
The other one was on the motion for the SWCD. And in that motion, it doesn't state what the interest rate was going to be.
And it was stated.
But it was stated.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just missed it.
In the motion.
So we just need to add the 3% in there.
Right. I couldn't hear it good enough on the videotape.
Oh, really? Okay.
I can't hear that sound. good
Yeah,
enough.
that was a good catch.
Yeah.
So now you could say, in the amount of 400,000 at 3% interest.
Right.
Just like that, okay, got it.
Okay. That one was one that I thought was more serious. Because I wasn't sure whether we just missed it or when we actually made the motion. Good. That's all I have on 17.
Well, it's been a while since
Yeah.
I said it's been a while since I read them, and I'm going to go along with your corrections, that they sound perfectly logical to me, and
Well, that's what I wrote down, my notes.
at that time, I was having problems with my printer at home, and when I printed them out, I had a difficult time. Okay, so we've got the, how about if we'll go through these one at a time. Approval of January 17th regular court meeting minutes.
I vote
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve,
as amended.
as amended, the January 17th regular court meeting minutes. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Good. All right, we had the executive session minutes. They were,
I think I only got through half. Did I finish it?
Oh, I don't, last meeting, you mean, I don't know if you
I think I only got through half of it.
really short.
It was one page.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just need to look at
Just
it.
to kind of refresh your memory.
I read
It's-
those
Yeah.
before.
They were,
Partway then.
my mind, good.
Okay. You're looking at me.
Yeah.
I move we approve the January 17th executive session minutes.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the January 17th executive session minutes. Discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And the next two probably
Yeah.
need to be tabled because I didn't come out to you soon.
Yes. Let's table it.
Okay, yeah, those are the minutes from January 31st,
Yeah.
special Senate
I
session.
did notice some things in it. Do you want me to just get a hold of you? The couple corrections that I have?
Okay, then I can send a draft two, out.
Or you just want me to
Wait a
wait till the
second,
next
those
meeting
are
when
the
we talk
February,
about it?
on the February 7th, yeah, I
Oh.
can send it.
Huh?
I'm just thinking about if they've been, if they've been posted to the website in draft and then they get changed
Right.
outside of the meeting. But those haven't been posted, so, yeah. And I can send the draft too.
Right. Okay.
So
All right.
We're doing which tabling?
Well, we have these were given to us really today. These are the January 31st
Yeah.
minutes. And then also February 7th, regular court meeting minutes
Which just got emailed to you last night.
last night, so,
Yeah.
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 Of which, yeah, I did have some corrections, but we'll,
And one of the, when Mary and I were talking, I thought she had a good question, because Mary got those to me, earlier, I just got them read and made some revisions and then sent them out to you last night, but if we, like, at the January 17th minutes were posted on the website with the draft, and then you had your correction on the 3% interest, so we didn't waited to make that revision until it came before all three of you, because it
Right.
was posted on the website. Previous to them being draft minutes being posted on the website, if changes were made, I sent out a second draft or a third draft, so you all three always saw the changes that were being made. Mary's question was, since the videotape recording is now available on the website, is it still something that Courtney, is it still something you want done, having the draft minutes also posted? Because it becomes a little, like you just asked me, if you could just send me the changes, well, they need to see them.
Right.
And I can do that pretty easily, but once they've been posted to the website, everybody needs to see the changes.
right, so it becomes really a discussion here prior to,
If you read the minutes, and then they got changed, and a new draft
It
shows
says
up.
draft. It says draft.
It's a changing, but if you took the time to read 10 pages of minutes, and then there's a significant change made to them, and they've been posted on the website, and that isn't made obvious to the people that have taken the time to read them, I worry about that.
Yeah, I post them as draft. You're covered.
And just keep Well, I don't
And
know.
then once they're finally
Yeah.
approved, then change them. I wouldn't change them again.
So you would just put,
Yeah.
keep
No,
a
no,
changing
no,
draft?
no. I would leave them there until you guys approve them.
Yeah, not multiple revisions.
I don't.
Just leave the original.
Well, that's what we do,
Draft.
that's what we do.
Yeah.
But if
I
they,
don't-
if
I
one of them
the
reaches out to
necessity
make a
of leaving
change,
the original
in
draft
the
up is
meantime,
where I have a question.
I'm like, I don't think I can just
Why?
keep changing them on.
No,
the
I was
website.
changing there.
So that's the discussion. that-
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we know their.
Do you want the changes to come to the court meeting? Do you want every change to come to the court meeting? Because the draft minutes have been posted.
Right. Well, I think you have to show those changes that are interim between that draft and our meeting. We need to bring them out so we know, so everybody knows.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just,
That's the one thing I think
Right.
need to be done.
Right, I agree with that, yeah.
Yeah.
but I'm just, I think the question is the necessity of putting the draft minutes up where we now have the video if, somebody
Well,
wants to.
if there's people like me, I can't hear that video.
Okay. Okay.
So we would be discriminating against those people with disabilities.
Good point, Mike. I'm not
We
going
can
to argue
laugh,
with
but
it.
it's
Yeah.
serious to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just continue going the way we are. We'll have the original draft posted, then, when we.
Any changes would have
Yeah,
to
with,
come here.
Yeah.
with changes, we'll continue at these tables. Okay.
So then you don't want to know my comments, I'll
I
just
haven't
bring them up
posted
at the
those
next.
because I just got read last night.
Yeah.
so.
Well,
So you could, and then I could see that draft too.
Right.
just like this deal that I have, this, without going back and checking, we're gonna slow this meeting down. We can't take care of as much as we can beforehand, so we
Mhm.
can move it through.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay, so what I'm understanding, January 31st, February 7th, we'll table to the next county court meeting. And so hang on to your changes and we'll have them prepared for the next meeting. Okay, all right, I'm going to drop down, I want to get into the county job descriptions and the 3.1, which is the staff transition thing, but before I get there, I want to have a discussion about the Local Government Personnel Institute and where the status of that organization is right now. On, I believe it was February 9th, it's easier to look at the calendar, I guess. The Local Government Personnel Institute Board voted to shut down the organization. It was taken, unless they were able to, and it was almost immediately, unless they were able to get $130,000 with additional funding to allow them to run to January 30th. That went to the Association of Oregon Counties, of which really the executive board there wants more information prior to agreeing to give the funds. It also went to the League of Oregon Cities, who have made the decision that they're going to take over the services that were being handled by Local Government Personnel Institute. In other words, they'll bring in Ruth Maddox to do the HR end of things and Pierre Robert to do the collective bargaining agreements that are happening. Now, I'm not really sure what that structure is going to look like yet. It just was sent to me, I believe, Sunday evening about 5:30. And so I really I haven't been able to look into it, to be honest. My understanding, though, is that it's in complete agreement. I don't know whether this is going to happen immediately or whether this is going to happen June 30th. I'm hoping to get more information on it. Point is it appears as if we have these two individuals still continuing to do the work for us to at least finish whatever it is that we have going on. So
That's good.
so that brings me back to the county, the job descriptions that Ruth has been working on. She's wanting to be able to get a salary comparison, which is something that the negotiating team is in need of also, for her to be able, I believe she was able to get most all of the comparisons. There were still a couple of jobs that were not. I believe one of them was Leanne's, and I can't remember what the other one was. But, you know, we had some questions in regards to the job descriptions, and she sent an email to all of us. Did you kind of discuss coordinator, director, all of those particular things?
Yeah, and I tried to get back with her, and we haven't connected.
Okay. So, again, these are living documents that changes can be made. I'm just looking for something that gets this approved to the point where we can get kind of moving on some other things that we've been, we kind of looking at these since the middle of November.
Started about a year ago.
Well, we started a year ago with bringing LGPI in. I think, no, it was actually it was in May, I think, that we sent out the PAQs, position analysis questionnaires.
Well, so one of the things that I had a question on, had to talk to Ruth about, and I told her the day of my last emails that we were having county court today, going to talk about it, so we'll see what happens. But the deal, what these definitions came up, and I mean, my question about the job title on several of them in terms of they were being called coordinators, and when I was looking at these definitions, I didn't feel like it was, from my impression of what they're doing in these jobs, that they're more than a coordinator. And one of the reasons I said that too is because of the fact that they develop, recommend, and monitor annual budgets. And that's something a coordinator doesn't do. According to this set of definitions. Maybe I'm wrong about what they're doing.
Well, yeah, I think you are based on developing the budget end of things. Yeah, well, let's just take Teddy. She works with like 2 different boards.
Yeah.
Staff that these boards kind of make decisions on the funding that will come back to the county.
Yeah.
So, as far as she'll be the one that reports what these organizations decide will be the funding that the county gets.
Okay, does that make sense? And what's her job? Family services?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and do we have a budget for that area, that department?
They are funded through the general fund, yeah. So,
And who puts that together?
well, again, these organizations let her know the type of funding that she's going to be getting. And so from that point, yeah, she will determine that, she's going to get $35,000 from Early Learning Council. And of that $35,000, 19 of it has to go 0 to 4, and 5,000 of it goes to preschool, and so it'll be broke out. They break it all out for her, and then she puts it into her budget. She writes it on a piece of paper that says that's the way it's going to go out. Yeah. So if that's what you consider to be building a budget, then
Well, and let's take Marley.
Yeah, that's-
She's a coordinator also.
Uh-huh.
And doesn't she build a budget? What about the juvenile director? Do they build a budget for their
Yeah,
departments?
that's, you know, yeah, if you want to say that, you know, Marla, it's a matter of here comes funds coming in. Yeah, you know, I'm not going to argue with you on any of that.
And they have to they have to watch where they spend, how they spend their money, don't they?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
So that makes them a director?
Well, it makes them something besides a coordinator.
You know, I just, yeah.
I mean, because did we change some of these titles from
What they were?
our salary schedule?
You know, I don't know whether we did or not. Might have been.
I don't think they changed from their job, from the previous job descriptions.
Right, I think it's similar to
The
what.
salary schedules maybe had some inaccuracies in it.
So the people that are now being called whatever coordinator, they've been that in the past, that's what they've been?
Yeah, that's where they ended up with the title. I mean, this isn't things that we discussed to put in there. It basically come from them in the position analysis questionnaire and what they felt the duties were, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm just asking that in terms of getting this, and I was trying to get it right now.
yeah.
But it does, it seems to me like, these different departments
Sure.
have budgets,
Yeah.
and who's responsible for
Mhm.
those people are. Like in the weed department, Doug isn't responsible for the budget, but Don is.
Yeah. So, but that's a whole separate fund, it's not.
Oh, yeah, that's a separate fund. I mean, but they have their department that they have a budget for.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to say that I'm not going to say I disagree with you. And
Well,
anything,
okay.
I'm just sitting here saying I'm trying to rationalize it too, and
I just see them doing a lot more work than just coordinating some activities.
okay.
They go out and get grants.
Mhm.
People go out and get grants, that's more than coordinating. Maybe they didn't write down everything they did. That's something. I mean, at one point in time, we used to call them the community development director, now they're a coordinator. They have always been a coordinator.
We had an economic development director, the county did when BG Kane and Jessica Bates were.
They
have been-
Those were economic development directors.
Yeah. Then we had community development.
It has always
Officer,
it's always
we
been,
call them an officer.
it's always been
Right.
coordinator, I think, on the job description. I can go back and look.
I think it always was
I can go back and
coordinator
make sure.
for.
I don't think it's been, I know it hasn't recently been changed. It was advertised
Yeah.
as coordinator.
Okay. But the fact is that they are doing more coordinating.
Yeah, okay, I'm not going to.
I mean, that's my statement
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
If not, okay, so then what do we do with that job title? We're gonna leave it as coordinator?
Well,
We can vote on it. That'd be the best we can do.
yeah. I mean, I think the ones that we're talking about here, I forgot I left it on my desk down there.
I was thinking in Ruth's email, one of the points she made is that the title isn't really that relevant as
It's
what's
what's in their duties.
is what
Yeah,
you're looking at on the salary side.
yeah.
Salary side.
Do you want me to go down? I should go down and get those so we can kind of,
You want me to?
yeah, they're setting up, you know, the upper left-hand corner of my
What
desk.
did you get?
The job descriptions, so we can see which ones are coordinators and which ones are directors. So we'll change the subject. Let's move over to well, she'll want me to do it too. Yeah, Mike, I'm just going off of what
Yeah, I
came
know.
back from them on their position analysis questionnaires and what,
And I didn't have a chance to talk to her if I'd had this settled.
yeah.
But,
So just so I'm clear on how this went, the elected officials received the job descriptions, had the opportunity to go over them pretty well. And then they were able to discuss it with, and
Yes.
make changes?
So they didn't receive a job description. What they got was a position
Right.
analysis questionnaire.
After
Which-
that?
Yeah, they
Have
filled that out.
Did they have a
Yeah,
chance?
Then they got the job descriptions that were sent back to them to go over and make whatever changes they wanted to directly with LGPI.
So did some of the employees that aren't elected officials, did they have that same opportunity? Because I've heard from a particular employee that didn't feel like they had a real chance to have input in their job description.
Every employee, after we got the position analysis questionnaire back, then we got the job description. Every employee had, a half an hour or an hour, depending on what was in their job description, to sit down and go over it line by line and what was in there. And every employee got that opportunity. Both Leanne and I sat down with every single employee and said, is
Of the
there...
ones under the county court.
Right.
Not the other.
so they got it
I
for
mean,
an
I don't know
hour.
the other
They got to
ones.
look at it for an hour.
No, they
No,
had it for
No,
a
he
week.
said a meeting was scheduled. for-
A meeting was scheduled
Minimum
for
of
them
half an
for,
hour.
yeah, minimum of half an hour, up to an hour, going through each and every one,
But they had
line
them
by
before
line.
that.
Yeah, they had them before that.
I see.
Line by line, and many of them come in with things highlighted on the changes that they wanted to have made.
So did you have any problems? Did everybody say, yeah, this is great the way it is? No?
There was one individual that came in that the discussion is that person I felt was more, this person had on their job description that they went out and changed windshield wipers, batteries, things like that in vehicles. And I said, no, that is stuff that ought to be handled by somebody else. Changing tires, taking snow tires off, these kind of things were things that they felt that they should be doing. And we were saying, no, that, if these things need to be done, hire somebody, get the professional people to come in here and do these sort of things. Again, had no problem maybe changing a windshield wiper, but where do you start drawing the line down on this and determining what can and cannot be done? This person felt it was okay for them to go out and change the batteries in vehicles. Well, make a simple phone call down here and
That might
They're
drop
gonna be-
back to that last line
Yeah.
in our job descriptions. It says, or anything else.
yeah.
For the duties as
And
assigned?
other duties as assigned. So that was the portion of the one individual that changes were made, that it was like, no, you're overseeing somebody taking care of all of this, not actually performing the duties. That person did not agree with the way that being handled. Money would be wasted in doing those kind of things, and
But, so for the most part though, everyone else?
everybody else, the
It
changes
seemed like
that...
everybody kind of signed off on them as being,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
virtually,
recall there being any,
yeah, no.
disagreement and that the changes were generally because they were changes they brought forward.
Right. And most everybody brought in changes.
Yeah.
Most everybody did. And the changes that they asked for were granted, except for the one individual. And there's a perfectly good reason. why that was, I didn't know where to draw the line, to be perfectly honest, in the sand on those kind of things. Again, I don't have, changing the windshield wiper is, yeah, okay.
I also, just so you're aware, the little, I sent out, I told you the other day that I sent out an email to people that I went to county college with and asked a bunch of questions of them. One of them was about public comment, which they all do. And another one was, do you have a job description for your county commissioner position? And then the second question I asked was, what about the elected officials? Do they have job descriptions? And all but one came back and said, no, they don't have them. One commissioner said, we have them, but they're really old. So I thought that was interesting, that none of the rest of them have them. Which brings up, Gary's point again about the necessity of the elected officials having them. But I don't know if, I haven't heard, I've talked to some of the others, but, they're not here now. It's like they don't seem like they are wanting to come discuss it in a meeting that they don't want that.
Like Gary did.
Like Gary did.
Yeah.
But everybody else is still kind of staying quiet about it. So I don't know if that means it's that important to them or not.
Well, the only thing, again, that's the job description end of things was, and I think we have Sharon Harrison coming.
That was on CIS.
Next
Yeah,
week.
CIS was,
That's what I thought there was an issue in terms of.
yeah, it's really having
The
it
insurance end?
for the insurance end of things and having something on file, but that was the only reason for having them. Okay.
And what was the reason? What was the insurance reason?
Well, it's for workman's comp and making sure that, if you have me going out and, shoveling snow and end up throwing out my back or whatever, I don't know whether this is a good example or not, but, we have a maintenance crew that supposed to take care of those things. Should that be part of what I think my duties are each and every day? I don't know, whether the insurance, I doubt that they would argue that. I doubt that they would ever have any problem with it, but.
So that one deal in our job description is always at the end, it says, and other such duties as assigned.
Yeah.
So you going out and shoveling is right there in the job description.
Yeah.
So how do they respond to that?
Well, it wasn't, I don't know whether that's in the elected official's job description. I'm the messenger.
Well, I know, we
Gotta
get.
It's, we have had this analysis done by, when was it, last September, by CIS, coming in to do things. So I guess here's one, two, going through.
And probably on this deal on the budget thing, it's probably not consistent, just like the driver's license deal. It wasn't consistent through
Sure,
the
yeah.
different ones.
Right.
And so, yeah, I was trying to, I talked to a few of them just to see if I was, if this was something that was done by the different departments or whether it was only just certain ones. So that was, it seemed like that was something they all did. Yeah. So, but then it wasn't necessarily in all their descriptions.
So going through these, we've got, looks like the Community Development Coordinator, Emergency Management Coordinator, Public Transportation Coordinator, Family Services Coordinator. Those are the only ones that I've run into so far.
The emergency management coordinator.
Right.
That's Chris.
That's Chris Fitzsimmons.
Yeah, she does a lot more than that, right?
She has more.
I think that's only part of it.
Yeah, that's only part of her time. Right.
Okay.
looking back for the email from Ruth where she talked, because there was an email where she talked, her reasoning for elected official job descriptions. And it looks like the last time Commissioner Monroe asked, and I mean, I have so many from her, but I'm looking again, because she had a short little explanation of why she recommended elected official job descriptions. Let me know if you find that.
And then there's another one that it's the county treasurer's administrative assistant IT coordinator.
Right, right.
So we're looking at really 5 of them that,
And 2 of them are not, they're in somebody else's office.
yeah. You got it right.
I'll probably have to listen to it.
Well, you said office. at
Right.
Our previous
I
discussion.
got it.
So, public transportation coordinator, family services coordinator, and you're thinking that community development coordinator to be changed to director?
Well, I don't know if that's the
Emergency
proper
management.
level or not, you know, I mean, that's, they're not supervised, well, transportation team, she supervises people. Mostly volunteers. She also has a dispatcher. But whether she does any supervising, I would think she would.
Well, you know, yeah.
I
I mean,
hope,
yeah, there are, things that go on within,
Yeah.
it's not CDLs, but, I was looking for what I did.
The main thing there is that they're responsible for operating budgets. Which, I mean, we do hold, I thought we do hold those people
Responsible for
responsible
those,
for
yeah.
those budgets.
I really, yeah, it's.
I mean,
that-
we
that
watch
gets-
them.
Yeah, I monitor
We're
it every
watching,
day.
monitor it
I guess
ourselves.
it's really the ones that I kind of lose track of are the special funds. And, the library, I think is a good example of, that's one I'm having to watch pretty closely.
Oh.
But I, gotta
That's
say-
the library director,
Yeah,
and they do have supervision of the people there.
right,
too.
right.
But, and then what about, what about managers? That's a different.
See,
We're kind of in this odd position of these departments, one person, more or less, 1 or 2 at the most.
Right.
But they definitely do more than coordinate.
Yeah, with, where we run into issues when you start saying management into it,
Yeah.
then that really doesn't qualify them to be in the union, of which,
Yeah.
that's been,
But especially. in
I
this-
think almost every, I'm sorry.
Yeah, especially in this definition of the coordinator that says these positions are typically staffed by individual contributors who do not have responsibility for operating budgets or support. That's where I have trouble with this coordinator
Okay,
definition, whether it's important or not.
right.
But if it has anything, I mean, I'm assuming these titles have some, have some correlation to salary schedules too.
Well, according to Ruth, no. Didn't she say that really the title doesn't really affect?
Well, the email
Yeah.
that you all saw from, which she said that the
Which
title
email?
isn't that, she said it's about the duties within the job description, but the current salary schedule, yes, the titles are what classifies them to some degree in the current one, the one that's been used up to this point now, in her salary survey, that's not what she's gonna be looking at. She's not gonna be looking at titles and comparing titles. She's gonna be looking at what job descriptions are.
Yeah.
How's that?
So I guess that
That's what
is
she's
really
doing.
important, and if somebody's doing budgets, that should be in their job description.
And those will be the things that she'll be comparing these things
Yeah,
in the
okay.
salary survey.
See, and I guess I missed that email.
Yeah, and like supervising, that's why one of the, that was one thing you questioned in my job description.
Right.
So now she needs to know, is that supervising the maintenance department or not? Because when she goes out to do the comparisons with other counties,
Right.
that will make a difference.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So if a job title change is gonna be considered, does that have any effect on pay?
In the
Ruth
old-
saying no.
in the old, what we've done up to this point, it could have, probably would have. But from here forward, when this process is completed, it's going to be based on the study that was done by LGPI, probably. I mean, you'll have to go through that process.
I mean,
See
when
what
I
to
look
agree
at
to that.
the salary schedule, I'm generally looking at what I can do with it. And then you attach a title to it too. But that's, that's the way I look at it. I mean, that's where we came up with those percentages kind of thing, to try to make it relative to,
Yeah,
for the different people.
I mean,
So, from that point, I would be surprised if we made big change, if there's big changes to the way the salaries are positioned in the schedule from this study. You might come back and say, oh, you're all overpaid. So anyway, I mean, that's,
so,
so I don't think I really helped get the answer there, other than
Yeah.
to me, it still doesn't seem like coordinator is very fitting title.
okay, to me, I just don't, I don't have too many issues one way or the other. Just was going off of what was there.
I guess maybe I haven't looked at it too close.
No, I don't think so. That's what we wanted to have done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what would happen if we turned them into managers? I mean, that does.
Pierre, our labor attorney, has said, boy, based on everything that I'm looking at here, it could be that every one of these are really ineligible to be in the union. There were very few,
Yeah.
but as I said, well, then we need to, that would open a whole can of worms that I'm not interested in opening right now.
Oh, but I'm not up for election, so I'd open it.
Well, no, it's not, it didn't have anything to do with that. I was just trying to get job descriptions completely finalized so that we can, move on. I think when I come into this position, human resources was not one of my strengths, and it still is not one of my strengths. But it was pretty obvious when I got here that everything was kind of, I think for 3 years I've been asking to, or actually 4 years.
So, I mean, a director, sounds like a director's higher than a manager.
It did to me.
Yeah, yeah.
I think another term was administrator, but I didn't know where that fit within the level. Family services administrator. But that may be,
Not have responsibility for subordinate
Here,
Administrative.
here.
So when are we gonna see the salary survey or the thing? Because
If we okay.
Yeah, she really wants to have the job descriptions okay, so she has the final, and I.
Well, and I would be, I don't know about making a bunch of changes to titles until I see what the salary schedule.
What the salary schedule is, okay? I mean, we can go back and change that part of the job description.
That's what I keep saying, you know, is we can go back and make changes as,
Yeah.
these are living documents that I'm hoping that, you know, we kind of get, so we can get, you know, this process sort of rolling and take a hard look again, you know, after everything's done.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so then it comes back, still back to this, at this point, then in there, just job descriptions. Just like the license, the driver's license thing, is this budgeting piece
Yeah.
in all of them that it should be, and have we made it consistent in terms of, well, one just monitors, the other one, you know, one develops, or, you know, I mean, all these positions are doing develop, recommend. I mean, what they do is they develop a budget and they send it to us for recommendation. That's
And
what
there's
they
a-
recommend.
There's a lot of.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they have to monitor it once it's come to the budget, then they have to monitor it to make sure they keep their department in line. So that, I think we gotta make sure that's, and I noticed there were differences in the way it's spelled out in the different job descriptions of these positions that down under our the court offices. And so, I mean, that would be my main recommendation, you know, in terms of, I mean, I would approve if they had that kind of thing taken care of. And, I mean, as far as the transportation deal and what all goes into that, I think I'm agreeing with you in terms of there's got to be some flexibility, but in terms of how much that person does in terms of physical activity. But her responsibility is to get them buses out on the road.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we don't have a maintenance department that's devoted to her.
Right, well, that's true.
She has quite a fleet to make sure. And so, yeah, changing tires is probably a good example of something we don't expect her to do.
Right.
Yeah. So, maybe that one's going to have to be scrutinized more down the road. That if we can move ahead with this, unless somebody else has something that
Well, I'm
See
just,
that.
yeah, to me, again, I consider these to be, you know, kind of living documents, and as, you know, we have discussions with the employees of what is there, that we can make adjustments that, you know, come back on each
That's what
individual,
we-
so.
would happen with our county strategic plan too, that it's a living document. And these job description things, from the sounds of, it's pretty typical for them to become dead
Well, yeah,
documents.
you know, some of these, they went clear back to, you know, 1994, some of them, I mean,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
really kind of,
Oh, yeah.
it's like, wow, yeah. So,
But I think the main thing was we had a process that we decided that should be done, you know, so that we can keep track of the changes.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
That's
That's
the important thing.
That's really what we're trying to get, you know, make sure that we have something there to start with so that we can do that.
Right.
Annual reviews of, okay, here's what, is there, what, how is this going and what we have in here, what do we need to pull off and what do we need to add to those. So we've been talking about this for half an hour. What do you guys think? I mean, is it?
That's not very long for as big a job as it is. We keep putting it on our deal and then we just kind of let it slip through and table it for a day.
I'd like to get into, discussion of the staff transition into things here too. Again.
Ready to approve? Are you ready to approve? Yeah, with my suggestion on the budget part.
Yeah.
I think that's just something we can pass on to. And I mean, we did that with I don't know what the results were on the driver's license thing. Because that was one of the other things. I don't know where that came to. But it was passed on to Ruth, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So. I move we approve these job descriptions as we've discussed today.
Okay.
Further stuff to come down the road when it happens, but for now, we'll take them close.
Okay. Okay, I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the job descriptions with the recommendations, the additional recommendations. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Did I move too quickly? Okay. I know. At least this will really, it's going to get us into a couple of steps that will allow us to really take a better look as we go. Okay? Okay. Okay.
This is, honestly, this discussion is not what I came up here for. I came up for the next one. But,
State your name, please.
okay, I will. Rachel Weinstein, Community Development Coordinator. And I'll tell you just honestly how I feel about this, and I felt about it, you all know, but I just want it on the record, that if we do acknowledge that some of us do more than coordinate, we write grants, we help shuffle projects along like the housing project, and it doesn't matter to LGPI what we're called, at least in terms of morale in the courthouse, being called a director rather than a coordinator, and I know I don't speak just for myself, although today I am. I just think it makes a difference. And I didn't want to say anything until you guys had voted, but now that you have voted, I really would like to be on the record about that.
Okay.
Okay.
And we do manage our budgets, and if we run over more than 10%, we hear about it. So, anyway, just saying, if it doesn't matter, I think that is one thing that you guys could have changed that would have helped morale and gotten a lot of these other concerns off your backs.
Yeah, I don't think anybody mentioned it.
Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome.
I don't think anybody mentioned it in any of the conversations that we had, so, yeah, that's new.
No, I think I've just heard up and down the halls
But
of
you see-
the morale issue.
Yeah. Those
I
are
can
things.
remember
Yeah.
the trouble between the road department and the courthouse. We had some issues back when Pat was here. We had to settle. I mean, kind of sit down on the road department guys and tell them that's not acceptable. That's a little different issue.
Okay. All right. I have one more time with this, but the transition plan. Okay. So we've got, Leanne here who does an awful lot of the things that we just discussed. We're gonna, I think it's gonna take at least a couple of months of somebody in here with her doing what she does today. I just don't think Leanne's got it in her plans to be here for another 6 months to, you know, she's out of her house. They've moved everything. So now she, I think last night, spent it with the Lathrops. She does have some temporary living arrangements to allow her to get to. So I guess what I'm asking is, we do have a job description for her. We have the ability to write up a job posting, similar to what she does now. We could go ahead and get started with that.
I think we probably need to get something posted.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it would be a good idea. Now, I'm going to say this, is that, you know, I don't, with the things that she does and you know, the expectations, I'm not so sure that we're going to be able to get one, well, her with her history and everything, you know, that's going to be really difficult to replace. There are a couple of things that I want to, you know, kind of ask about. Should we look internally, or do you want to look outside? You know,
I want to look everywhere.
Yeah.
okay.
But we,
What do we normally do?
do we have
Post
to,
out.
we have to,
It's not a union position.
Right.
So normally the post in the union would have 7 days
If it's a
advance.
union position.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not.
Okay, good.
It's
All
not.
right. And we just,
Get it out there and see who people can.
right,
Okay.
send some good pictures too.
Well, I guess the thought process I had was to check internally first and see if there was anybody who might be interested in filling this, somebody who has, you know, history, all of those things here. And then along, maybe later, post outside. What are you guys' thoughts?
I guess I feel like if we're kind of under a bit of a time crunch, and we should just post it.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
What do you think?
Okay.
We've been, yeah, I think we're just bad off here with this job. We have the last, I don't know how many, we need someone, we're gonna need to get somebody going as soon as we can.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Okay.
May have to rewrite the job description. When we hire.
That, Leanne, you know, I think maybe you should have some input here. Your thoughts. I think it's important that we hear what, you do the job every day. I see you, but do you want to talk? Would you prefer, you know, conversation?
Well, I hope that, you know, I hope that the commissioners would have a chance maybe to talk with county clerk, who does some of the HR, myself, Terry, who's expected to do risk management, and see how we all feel about that working. It's pretty fragmented, and I think that what my position has evolved into over 22 years is, I feel pretty confident saying it's too much to expect of one individual to do it all and do it well. I mean, I skim the surface, I don't do it well. There's not enough hours in the week to do that, and I see you work 60, 70 hours a week. I don't know how many hours you work. I haven't been putting in those kind of hours, and that's what it would take, I think, to once somebody gets involved in all the different, it's a pretty broad range. And as you know, county court deals with a lot of different subject matters. It's once if somebody new comes in, once they kind of get involved in all that, that's when, I mean, in the beginning, it would be like, oh, clean slate, and just take care of getting these court packets out quickly and efficiently. But over time, I think it becomes too much unless there is a position created that handles HR and risk management. But if this position is supposed to do a lot of that, and then a lot of the administrative, I just think it's setting somebody up for failure unless they can really find a perfect candidate that is.
Well, one of the things that we discussed, which I think is a good idea, is having the attorney come to all the meetings, most all the meetings, and then they can help with the risk management side of things. And another thing that you and I talked about too was that, that you, over the years, have taken on a lot more things, but, people, I don't think will be going to a new person like they do to you. So hopefully that will free up some of their time to be able to take care of the court.
Yeah, I would think that would be natural thing. Sure.
Are we gonna post the, what about pay scale? Is there any, are we gonna list that? Do we have to list that? Or can we just post it?
Let's see what we get.
Yeah.
I think that would be it's always kind of difficult, when you don't post the pay scale.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
right.
It's because you get such a wide range, you get let's say the Wasco County Administrator getting, $140,000 a year, you think this might be a good opportunity for him to come here and get $140,000 a year.
Yeah.
Or you might get the person who is.
But if you do the salary range, you do it by experience. So what would be, let's see, what would be that salary range?
Did we decide that we were gonna start everybody at level 1? Or at least that's what we were planning?
That was what we were gonna,
Yeah.
that's the way we were gonna
Right.
do, and that, let's say that's for unions positions, not too many other ones.
Yeah.
But you're right, but we're in a hurry, remember?
I know.
So we're gonna bypass that. We're gonna bypass that first round, just post out the minimum. Try it and see.
I don't have, we don't have a copy of your handy, do we?
Of the salary schedule. Still don't have one.
I might have it on my computer.
You go, remember what your base salary is? Okay. I don't need it.
Sure.
And I guess another question I have too is, did you want to have LGPI do the recruitment? The posting,
Have we ever had them do it?
We never have, but this is really kind of an unusual position, a little bit different than any other position we really had.
We go out and hire somebody to recruit for us, is that what you're saying?
Well, that's been part of what could, I thought at the end of this, fulfilling these contracts with LGPI, that would be a consideration at the end. Now, from here forward, do you want to have an HR consultant do recruitment for county positions instead of each department doing things and not having the consistency that even what you're mentioning, like our job descriptions ought to be consistent, so should our recruitment processes. And so I don't know if you want to have, I can do what I've done before and do the best I can with the time I try to squeeze it in and get a posting out. And then we've got, interview, and everything, screening the application, setting up interviews, figuring out what questions are going to get at, just the work that goes along with that, not just for this position, but for any position that comes open, and we have them coming open regularly. We've got one posted, we just posted for one last week.
So if we decide that we want to go, if we did want to go forward using their recruitment, they're going away though, so I don't even know if we want to,
And Sharon Harris, not from LGPI, but from City County Insurance Services, who did the assessment last fall, will be here at the next court meeting to report on what that assessment, what she found in County's HR program.
if you post it and you put it out in the papers, what, is there any place else that it goes?
Well, those are all the questions that'll come up as we go through it.
I mean, but have you ever done that before?
Yeah.
Do we use like
Sure.
League of Oregon Cities, League of Oregon Cities, or?
We haven't used other government agencies, but we use the Employment Division for newspapers. We used years ago for the lab manager position, we used one of those companies. that recruit for you.
It's on our website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
post on the website and post on locally and all that, but
Very
I mean,
good.
how far do you want to go with
This especially is right at this point, yeah.
lieutenant government
The
agencies?
person, the job position we're hiring for is, I mean, she's done a lot of that work in terms of the posting and all that. But if she doesn't do it, I mean, it's still gonna be up to us to
Well,
follow up on
Right.
what's being done.
Right, so, risk management, you were talking about having the attorney here, which I think is a small portion of it. So many other things that,
Right.
for instance, Leanne, every year when we get the insurance
Which will be coming
coverages,
up.
which is coming up real quick, I mean, it's a stack of paper and going through every single item that we have to make sure that, the easy part is, do we still have it?
I mean, I have to-
The hard part is what's the value of it, and is it overinsured, underinsured, any of those kind of things.
I understand what you're
Yeah.
talking about, I do that at my job. I'm the
Yeah.
finance manager, I'm the budget officer, and then I
Yeah.
also do risk management, I do human resources, I have all those jobs
Right.
too,
Right.
so I know. So I guess I'm not ready at this point in time to make a decision on human resources or risk
Oh,
management.
I don't think that we
Person, I think
should.
we need to post, I think we need to post Leanne's job, get it out there and see what we can get.
Yeah. Okay, so we're all in agreement with that. Okay, so we'll make the move on that. Actually, what I'd like to do is maybe have LGPI, if you guys don't mind, have them so that, this is not one of those things that falls back on the end to be able to get accomplished. I'll have Ruth, draft a job posting
Okay.
based on what she has in the job description. And we'll in front of you guys before we do anything.
We've got that in our budget. Because
What's that?
this will cost in addition, right?
It'll be in addition to what we have.
Right.
So, yeah, we still have
So you
consultants.
better be monitoring
Yeah.
our court budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
And would you mind after lunch, would you bring up the salary schedule? So we look at it?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, we need that, we gotta give that kind of instruction to LPGI.
Yep. But they have the salary schedule. They have all of that, so it's.
Yeah, but what we want.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying, okay. All right, so real quickly, I think there's three, before we break for lunch. There's a continued learning requirement that Chris Patno sent to us. It's continuing legal education. And Chris does a really good job of staying on top of this stuff. I just want to recognize the fact that Chris Patno does I think she was the president of the Oregon Justice of the Peace Association. I don't, yeah.
Is this a
Yeah,
little,
she goes above and beyond.
She goes above and
say, is
beyond.
this a little too much?
Well,
I mean, 70 hours?
I want to make sure that we do recognize the fact that Chris Patno does go above and beyond and the requirements of performing her duties for, as Justice of the Peace for Gilliam County. Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
So this must cost extra too,
It does, yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think it's, again, one of those that she, I think does fine.
Helps her do a better job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, with that, I think the next ones, we've got fiber to discuss this afternoon, and.
And that shouldn't be too, I mean, we're pretty much in the same place, aren't we? And that shouldn't take too long.
It won't take very long.
I don't want
at
to,
all.
I'm like,
I thought we were,
I'm
I
nervous, I just want to I don't want to be here until the wee hours because.
thought we'd be done by 12.
It's
Well,
scary,
I thought
it's
we
scary
could,
outside.
yeah, the issue that we had was, originally when we were putting the agenda together was to have Joe in the morning, but he needed to be with his mother. They were going to consult with the doctor, and so as soon as that he could do anything was at 1 o'clock, and of course he was going to give us a report on what, but I definitely want to have a conversation in regards to the city's proposal about handling everything.
Oh, yeah, being the fiscal agent and.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, I think,
We're closing
the
project
fiscal,
manager.
I'm going to tell you now, I have no problem with the fiscal agent end of things. I do have a real problem with the project manager. We'll discuss that afterwards, okay?
Yeah.
You two, today, I need to go home for lunch. I have 2 granddaughters, my wife. Yeah,
Well, you better
I have
go home
2
for lunch.
granddaughters that are staying with us for the next, 4 weeks. And my wife is in Arlington today, so there's a few things that I need to take care of at my home, preparing for those grandkids tonight. So let's recess for lunch. We're back out from lunch recess, back into session here. The first order of business that we had was the award contract and approved agreements with Inland Development for indefeasible right of use and maintenance and repair services for Arlington to Condon fiber build, which in response to that, we received an email last night at 6:53, is what time mine chose, from Joe Franell, and it says, "I apologize for the lateness of this update. Unfortunately, Mr. Deason and I are still waiting to get Inland suggested revisions so we can finish the contracts. I suspect that some of the delay is because the city and Inland were able to meet for the first time last Friday. We do expect to revise documents from Inland this week. We've been told by Inland that everything should be wrapped up and ready for action at the court's next regular scheduled meeting on March 7th. And of course, please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you." So, I was made aware that Blake Lawrence had contacted Mike Smith. Mike Smith,
Who contacted Mike Smith?
Blake Lawrence with Inland Development, and said that he was meeting with, this was Friday morning, we had a Frontier Telnet meeting, and that he was meeting, I found out at that time that he was meeting with the city representative and doing the contract. I think, what the city is hoping is once ours gets finalized, then they can utilize our contract for theirs. This is my understanding. I don't know whether there's going to be any changes based on, and Catherine may know, based on what the city is looking to have put into it. But I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it, things are kind of put on hold until we really hear back from Inland.
Right.
Yeah. Anything further, I guess? I don't know. You read it.
So Mike Smith, they got something going with Inland too?
Yeah, they're working on what would be the Wasco to Rufus build for Sherman County. That's Frontier Telnet organization. Yeah. So I don't know too awful much. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing, I guess. Maybe picks things up with Joe on the 7th and have more discussion. Okay, so that brings us down to really just 2 more things on our agenda, the Grain Lab appraisal.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I sent you guys the information of what had come out with that. I had reached back out to Dana Bratton to see if he would be willing to tackle what has been asked of by the EDA. And of course, he sent a letter that says that I've been thinking through your request and have made the decision respectfully to remove myself from the possibility of expanding the appraisal to include the cost approach and income approach. He gives specific reasons as to why, within the email that was sent to us.
It all made sense to me.
It did to me also, but it just doesn't seem to be making sense to the EDA.
So we talked to them about just a second appraisal.
That's, I have no, yeah, and really, I think that's what they're asking for is a second appraisal.
Right.
I think in this next go-around, we have to insist that this cost and income approach be a part of it. Again, to me, the income approach is kind of like, pulling clouds out of the sky.
Yeah, right.
If you do get successful, you don't know what you really have.
So if we decided to have a second appraisal, we wouldn't just have it done just like the one we already have?
Well, when we sent out the RFP for it, I sent the letter and the requirements that the EDA had with it. And, so it was to what they wanted to have. The problem is when this guy did the appraisal, the cost approach wasn't realistic on what the value of the building would be. And number two, the income approach was really trying to pull clouds out of the sky. As he stated, that location is a difficult aspect of it, where it is.
Yeah, he had it laid out.
He really did within the appraisal.
The
but
logic behind it is sound.
I felt that, my response to the EDA in the letter that we wrote, covered it well. A little firmer than the way he.
Well, and I'm not an appraiser. What's our assessor's office say about this?
Well, of course,
I know they're not loud.
Yeah.
They wouldn't take their appraisal, but they might be able to help advise us on some ideas.
Don't know whether I want this. But we did receive that information some time ago, and it was the amount of money, roughly the amount of money that we decided that we needed to hold back at budget time.
Oh, yeah. But that,
That was just based on, it wasn't a real actual, let's go in and do an appraisal similar to what we would do with, taxed property within the county.
yeah.
That was done 2 years ago, I think.
They
Coming up on
were
2
saying
years.
it would be 600.
I think that's, right around that amount.
So what were they using? Income approach? Or something?
I think a cost to build that cost value.
Cost.
Yeah, that's what I offered to the EDA in the first place. I said, I think really based on everything that was involved with this, if we just used a cost approach and took 60% of that would be fair as far as I was concerned.
Mhm.
Also, if we took the cost approach based on the EDA's numbers, $786,000, I think, and 80% is what they get, the money that they give us.
Right.
It's just that I wanted that 60% aspect that they told us at that meeting.
They
that we
agreed
had.
to at that meeting.
Yeah,
On public record.
exactly. But they want their 80%, all their 80% back.
Even though it's depreciated.
Right. And I think I offered, I'm positive, I offered in the letter to say, look, we'll give you 60% of your 80% investment.
So to get another appraisal, it's been how long since
They
the last
performed it, well, it was in,
RFP?
We did, yeah, they performed the
I just
appraisal.
wondered if we could go, if it's finished in a short enough time, we could just go to the next
Right.
one on the list.
Yeah,
We probably could, we could check with.
yeah. we
But
could
it was quite a bit more expensive.
It was, you're right.
It was. Yeah,
Either that or we gotta go through the process again.
right.
But it seems to me like, but we gotta make sure that if we do that, that we gotta get the EPA to say,
I think they were all at
stack of
10,000.
Bibles that they will.
What's
I
that?
think they were all under 10,000, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
So we wouldn't have to.
Yeah, I don't think we, yeah, I think all of them were under $10,000.
Yeah, if we do the second appraisal and it comes out about the same as the first one, then what are they gonna do?
Believe me, trying to read the tea leaves with these guys is,
No, I mean, it'll be somebody else by the time,
yeah,
by the time they get the information, they'll have another person there.
yeah. Well, yeah.
And that's been the
This
game.
is, yeah, this has been my fourth one that I've dealt with, so.
Might as well be trying to put a dock on Willow Creek. I mean, it's
Yeah.
that frustrating.
It is. It's been very frustrating to me. You know, the very first person that I dealt with was a little bit difficult. The second person, Christy Bingham, I think was her name, was very helpful in getting this, you know, helping us work through this. The next person was pretty much by the book. This new person is only as good as the attorneys that they're using in this. So I guess everything was under $10,000. What we can do is reach out to the same people again, explain the circumstances, ask them, you know, if their price on the appraisal is similar to today, than what it was last summer.
Right.
You know, then we can, I guess, pay for another appraisal. That's the only.
Yeah, because it's gonna, we need some guarantee from EDA that they're gonna accept it. They rejected this first one.
Yeah. Well, they rejected it because it didn't include the cost and income approaches. Now,
So, see, which approach did we end up with?
the market approach.
The market
Yeah.
approach, right, which is the most, in this case, the most logical.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You know, the other option is we put it up for sale.
Yeah.
You know, we ask a price and see what offers come to us. You know, that, I have to be honest with you, I don't think that the EDA will,
They're not gonna like that
they're
one.
definitely,
Either.
that's not gonna be something they're gonna agree to. But, you know, that's probably the only way that we're gonna find out the true value of the building.
Oh, yeah. A bona fide,
Bonafide,
Bid.
yeah, bid, check in hand.
then it's gone.
Yeah, then it's gone.
But so far, we need to change our policy for the industrial park
Yeah,
in terms of ownership
right.
too, in that case.
I think that would be our first step, is changing. I mean, right now, it's land ownership is not,
No, it's just
well,
leased.
it's just lease the land.
Yeah. Even if you could lease it, then that would still equate to some type of a value of the building.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's another way if they would, you know.
Well, you know, I'm kind of the opinion that if we were able to find somebody who would be willing to lease it, you know, then I think they would accept anybody going in there.
Except, well,
Except-
legal,
Yeah. I think-
federally legal.
Right.
Right.
Except for the entities that we've had
Interested in it.
numerous inquiries about.
Yeah.
And that's where the difficulty lies. I mean, yeah.
But basically, we can't sell it without their okay either.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we're kind of,
Let's see, how many more years? About 7?
yeah, I think it's 7 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was 2005, be like April of 2005, so.
You want to wait them out?
No. Well, I wonder what they would do if we never did, I mean, if we just let it sit for basically 8 or 9 years.
In my conversation with them, I said, fine, I'll just shutter it.
Yeah,
We'll let it sit there.
as long as we're actively trying to do something with it.
Trying to do something with it.
And that we need our documentation on that.
Yeah. I mean, I have, the inquiries that have come about up to this point have really come through the Port of Arlington
Yeah.
and Peter as our economic development person. I have had none since, prior to the port taking it over, which we're coming up on 2 years now. I think it was March 1st.
I just feel pretty leery that just doing a second appraisal is gonna get us a solution. I really, from everything that's happened so far with EDA, I think it could be basically a waste of our money. Unless they can guarantee us something,
Okay.
if we spend the money on this, that they're gonna accept a number.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, what I think could help us with that is maybe congressional people saying, okay, the county's gonna do it. They're gonna go one more time with this, but what comes back is what we go with, so. And I, as a matter of fact, got 2 phone calls today from Senator Merkley's and Senator Wyden's, people wanting to know the status, so.
Okay.
And I called them back at lunchtime and said, look, we'll know more after we talk about it at the county court meeting.
Did you say anything to Walden last night then?
I didn't say anything to him about that last night, so, yeah. But I did have a conversation on Monday with both of the staff individuals on what I was hoping to be able to talk with them when the Congress. But they told me they were having it at the Elks,
Oh, yeah.
and I didn't get word on the switch to the Anderson building.
Oh,
So, and, yeah, nobody, I don't think we got a call at all. So, yeah, 25 after showed up at the Elks and kind of looked around and thought, what? John Shaw told me that, they moved everything down to a different place, but he didn't know where, but he'd find out from Judge Shaw. And by the time Pat got the message back, I didn't get down there until, I guess it had already started. Yeah. Which, Nick Strader, I kind of had to pull him out to the side and give him a little bit of mine.
So do you want to just hold off on this for now?
Okay. Yeah, well, I guess what I'm asking, if you guys don't mind, I'll contact congressional people and tell them that we're willing to go ahead and pay for another appraisal. But we want, and I want your help in making sure that the EDA accepts whatever comes in.
right.
So, and then I'll contact the EDA. I may even do a conference call with all of those people on the line along with Kristen. Milius.
Yeah.
If you guys are comfortable with that, I think that I'll take that approach. So.
Yep.
Okay. Move on. Okay, correspondence. We did receive a letter from the city. It's in regards to the public hearing that was held last night about the warehouse building. My understanding is that they have agreed to allow us to demolish the building. I believe there was some...
There are some conditions, but I didn't bring them with me.
Yeah, I don't remember what those conditions were.
Build a sidewalk.
That
Build a
wasn't on
sidewalk.
there. That's a good one. Should have put it on.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I don't know what will be our best alternative, whether we have the road department involved with that, or whether we go out for bid on, what do you guys, demolition into things. I mean, I think we have a grace period. We probably should post it, that this is what we intend on doing, and maybe give 2 weeks, period of time for people to make comments, and maybe add, in case there's somebody out there who says, boy, I don't want
First
to.
of all, I'd like to see the planning commission. They must have to have something that's going to be in writing.
Yes, I have the order. I didn't bring it up, so I will send the order out to all of you. So the planning commission order is basically, you have the okay to demo it, and there's, I think, 8 conditions, and the conditions just range from, hey, take pictures before you demo it. If there's any materials that maybe the Historical Society wants, save that for them, things along that ilk. But it's already been posted. I mean, we posted the hearing for people to come in and make comment on.
Yeah, make comments.
Right.
And so no one commented on it, and it was, we send a notice out to property owners within 250 feet, and we post a legal in the newspaper, and it's also been on our website. So I think your period's already up, but
And I agree with Catherine.
I mean, that's up to you guys now, how you want
Right,
to handle the
right.
rest of it. With the city, you're good.
But there is certain
There are some
things.
conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get it to
Let's
you.
have
Yeah,
that.
with those
Let's
conditions.
Bring that to the
Okay,
court, so
okay. Yep.
see that.
We can do that. You didn't happen to bring those, did you?
You did.
Okay, we still can do that.
I did. I know,
All right.
I'm sorry.
Well, okay, just,
I'll go down and make copies and,
I'll just forward them.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's simple enough.
okay.
I mean, I don't think we want to start this next week, really. The road department's already got sort of a project going on, so.
Well, I think they'll.
It's snow.
Great roads as soon as the snow melts.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, court member reports.
Rachel did have one.
Oh, did you?
She wanted to submit, submit a grant application.
Okay,
It's due before March 7th.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
sorry, and it's, I know this is last minute. I figured,
It's, yeah.
It's on red.
I didn't think we had anybody there, so I didn't worry about
Battery's
the battery.
dead.
when I gave my last staff report, there was a wine license plate grant I was talking about applying for on behalf of the John Day River Territory to put on another taste of Oregon's Old West out of Cottonwood Canyon in the fall. But we were originally thinking about it to use our rare as staff.
Mhm.
And then we decided that, well, let's just wait till next year, but then I just got off the phone with Travel Oregon, and they said that part of what we could use the grant funds for would be for hire a consultant to help just do this event. And since it's a repeat, it's not nearly the amount of legwork that it was the first time around, because we have all the people that participated, so I'd like permission from the court to apply for it. I still have some more due diligence to do.
Yeah.
So I might ultimately decide not to, but it's due on the 28th. So I have a couple calls into other people to see if things could line up pretty easily to get this done. So I actually might not apply, but I'd like permission to apply for $12,000.
12,000.
And would ask the county for a $1,000 part of that match.
Matching funds? Okay.
And you, and with this grant, then it'll be to help put the VIN on.
Yes.
which was a lot of fun that day, even though it was a little warm.
We're gonna try to shoot for a week or two later. Yeah.
What's that?
We're gonna try, rather than the 12th of September, we're gonna shoot for a little later in the month,
Oh,
in the hopes to be a little cooler.
okay. All right.
And the grant is through who?
It's through the state of Oregon. Travel Oregon is who I applied to, but it's for the state of Oregon license plate, wine
Okay.
license plate grant.
Wine?
Yeah, wine, yeah, like,
To receive
So-
money from that, from the sale of those license
Yes.
plates. Yeah.
So it's probably through the Department of Motor Vehicles, or maybe not. Well, I don't,
It's like-
let's just go state of Oregon. I
Yeah.
think that'll be fine, so,
they have $200,000 that
yeah.
they
Mhm.
would like to delve out, so after telling them no twice, I'm now coming here and asking you guys.
So,
And the 1,000 then comes out of your budget or out of the grant,
we'll take it out, we'll take it out of the grant matching,
the grant match?
right,
Okay.
line item within,
Yeah.
211.
211, economic development, I was,
But it's grant
grant
matching pot.
yeah,
Okay.
just wasn't sure whether that was still in the, when it's SIP Energy? I was thinking that might, okay, I think it's gain share, it's in SIP Energy. Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve the grant application in the amount of, will it be $13,000 or $12,000? $12,000 with a $1,000 grant match to be taken out of the grant matching line item in 211.
Seconded?
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to do what I said. Okay, okay. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Thanks,
Thank you so
Rachel.
much for your
One
time.
question.
Sure.
You said that when you came here with your staff report that you were thinking about it, but that was because of rare.
Right.
We
and-
thought you wouldn't need it if you had the rare person.
Right.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because we would have applied for a small projects grant, which we probably still will do, to hold a culinary event the following calendar year
Oh.
in the Kimberly Sprague region.
Okay, so it'll come in more timely.
Yes, it will, certainly will.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay, so as I want to kind of go back to one thing that was the staff transition into things that we were talking about, the base salary for that position. It's, the base salary for it is $52,684.
What's that other number?
That was the cost that we paid for the audit last
That's what
year.
that's Nathan's note.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The
That
first part
still
is,
doesn't make,
the second part's
that
my
doesn't,
note.
for some reason, that doesn't make sense. That
On the
42.
audit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't know why that's,
Maybe it's getting easier.
yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they heard you say you're going out for RFPs.
They've heard that.
They've heard that
a lot
quite a
of
few
over the
times,
years.
yeah. I've mentioned it a few times that we ought to do that. Okay, court member reports. Unless we had further discussion in regards to the salary schedule, I see you're looking, Leslie.
I am looking. So we're just gonna put that as the starting salary on posting?
That,
That's, yeah, I think that's, unless you guys, I mean, I don't want to go any higher, I guess.
and we posted that, and then, so if somebody comes in that would be worth more than that, that's still the salary.
Okay.
That's what it's advertised at, we're not gonna,
Yeah.
and if people don't want that, then we go another round and open it up to a range.
Right. My concern, though, is, if we end up with, making a decision with a different HR, different risk management position, the value of that position, I think it's gonna be more than because it's gonna take a lot of things off of this plate.
Well, we rewrite that job description.
Well, if we hire somebody though, to come in and do what she's doing.
Right.
And then we end up taking it away, I think we're gonna be paying this person or the new person a lot more money than what the value of the position is.
So you want to start lower?
Well, no, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I don't-
Again, these are kind of difficulties that we have in this decision. I really believe that probably what we'll have to do is hire somebody who does a lot of the things that Leanne does, or does everything, but we're gonna have to get a person that backs her up,
An assistant.
an assistant. I don't know.
And then probably quit contracting minutes too.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I would guess, I guess we'd have to take a look at all of that. I don't know. Again, I've been pushing for this HR risk management position for 3 years, and I really haven't got any place with it. And right now, where we're at is trying to bring the people in that do this all the time and give us an analysis of what we have. And I think it's been pretty obvious that with LGPI coming in here and doing what they've been doing, that they started last June? May, June? And we still aren't finished with it. These are people that deal with this every day. I mean, this is their profession.
Right.
And I know there's discussion, thought process that once it gets done, then it's just kind of roll right along. Well, still a lot to it. When we had CIS come in, when I even first began thinking about this, I brought in Jen, what? It was,
Is it Jen Nolan?
no.
Jamie McAllister.
Janie McAllister with CIS, and they did an analysis of what ours was, and they said at that time, you probably should have a dedicated HR individual, 0.5% for 0.5 FTE, based on the size of what you guys.
You say 0.5?
0.5. That's when we began looking at the risk management portion of it and saying, okay, what Leanne is doing, what Terry's doing, what is not getting done, that could probably cover the other 0.5. And that was almost 4 years ago. Anyway, right now, where we're at, we're going to post a job for this particular person,
Right.
what this duty is, and we'll see what we get. And we'll start with, I guess, the base salary.
Right.
Is are the three of us going to be the hiring committee?
I think it should be.
Okay.
I think,
Okay.
I'm not really sure how that gets handled through.
They just have to it'll have to be an executive session.
Right.
And come out and make a decision on the record.
So, okay.
You can do interviews and executive
Right.
session.
So how soon do we think this will go out?
Well.
I mean, we're shooting for right away?
Yeah, we'll talk to Ruth either this afternoon or tomorrow morning.
Get that first.
We got to get that first. We've got to get the job posting finalized. I did have a conversation with Ruth on, I think it was the 2nd. When were you gone?
So next week.
Yeah, it was a Friday.
Next week.
Next week probably is when it will hit the newspaper. Okay?
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Good to go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move quickly through court member reports. Start with
You want me to go?
You
Yep,
go.
you go.
Mine's quick. I went to the Public Health District meeting last week, I think. Anyway, and then I received an email from Tom McCoy
Mhm.
about the funding formula. And I think what he would like to see is that if Wasco County can't come back with what they're willing to do, I think he wants Sherman and Gilliam to both say, you know, we want to pay 17.5% of the required cash subsidy. So I think he is hoping that if Wasco County delays, that I will be able to say at the meeting that that's what we want to do. So that's why I'm just asking you, are you okay with the, because right now we're paying 19%, and what Tom is proposing is that we pay 17.5%, which I would be fine with. I just want to make sure you guys would be fine with it as well.
It sounds better than 18. 19. Yeah.
So I guess there isn't a funding formula now. Basically, what Tom is proposing is that the overall, and correct me if I'm wrong, if it's, I don't remember the overall cost, $350,000 or something like that, of which we would pay, each one of us, Sherman and Gilliam County would pay 17.5%, and the balance would be for Wasco County to pay. And I think, Leslie, is Tom asking us to say that we approve the fact of, at the board meeting of public health, that we're in favor of having a funding formula that we put in place?
You know, I don't know if he went as far as to say that.
The issue that we've had.
But yeah, I think he does. He said that we would implement the formula by announcing that we will pay 17.5%. So I think he wants us to do both.
Okay. So I think the issue that had gone on in public health over the years is that, you know, when public health, for instance, what Norcor does is they say, okay, here's our operating costs for the year. You know, counties, this is your obligation for it, and it's split 50, 40, 5, and 5. Public health has wanted to do that also, say, okay, here's our cost of operating, and you know, we split 17.5, and Wasco County's portion of it. The problem is Wasco County keeps coming in and saying, you know, I know our portion is $390,000, but we're only going to give you $340,000. So, yeah.
So now you've got to adjust your budget.
So then we end up having to adjust the budget, and if you brought the, you know, then it goes from whatever their amount down, and then our 17.5% to make sure. So consequently, you're looking at probably, you know, a fairly substantial cut that happens at public health. And so that's where I had the argument with Wasco County all the time, was that, wait a second, we sat here as a budget committee and we approved the fact that this is what it takes to operate this entity. And then we send it off to you guys, and then you guys come back and tell us that, no, it doesn't take that to operate it, and we're not going to give you that money. Although they don't do that with Norcor, they didn't do that with the COG, they didn't do that with any of the other entities that are in partnership, but only public health.
Only public health.
Yeah.
And I can see, you know, I can see if Gilliam County didn't have the money in our budget, you know, what would we do but go back to them and say, this is all we can
That's all we can afford.
Yeah, and they just have to be the big guy in the room.
Yeah, when they decide, I mean, the amount of money that they have to cut is larger than most. But I'm in favor of going with the 17.5%. I believe we have another, well, the appointed budget committee person here. You know, it's just, I know the difficulty is going to be in what it takes to fund public health.
And we can also, you know, consider the 19 as well, you know, if this doesn't pan out. But I think we should shoot for this, and then if, you know, if we had to pay 19, we could do that too.
Still not going to make up if they aren't willing to.
Right.
Well, if they agree to a percentage, they still, you know, it looks like there's still some negotiation that they have to go on between public health in Wasco County,
Right.
not wanting to fund that much, because that would basically cut our dollars that we would give too.
I think we're going to run into the same thing. I mean, my report's going to be kind of similar to yours from Norcor.
Okay.
I believe that, you know, Wasco County is going to want to put less money on the table than what they have been. Yeah, so that's, and, I mean, I guess for me, I'm in agreement with Leslie that we go
Yeah.
with the 17.5%, with her as our representative, you know. I give her the leeway to do what you think is best in making sure that we continue with the services that we have in public health. So, yeah.
And I'm sure Tom has worked out, you know, he's worked on this formula to make it equitable.
Tom started on this formula, I think it was last budget.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I know it was last budget time when we went through the issues then, so. Anyway, I mean, your thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna run into, you know, for me, Norcor is gonna be a very similar thing. I'm convinced wholeheartedly that Wasco County is gonna come in with the same situation. I did have a Norcor meeting, I think it was last Thursday. There was an awful lot of that kind of discussion. Right now, we've been able to offset a lot of this. We have Benton County that we contract services with Norcor, and also we're holding the immigration and custom prisoners, of which there's been an awful lot of political heat on Norcor for doing that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't know what that decision is going to be. I've got to tell you, based on, you know, what I'm hearing, I'm not so sure that it's a good idea for this regional jail to continue doing this. But, you know, I still want to hear more information on it, you know, where things are at. I'm completely convinced that every ICE prisoner that goes in there has a criminal record that would have created a situation to where any one of us would be in the facility also. Now, it may not have been that they worked as hard to pick us up as they did those people. But I'm completely convinced of that. But, you know, we're getting into budget time with Norcor also, and I know that the Wasco County situation is going to be troublesome. I also know that Hood River County is, you know, roughly $1.5 million, at least $1.5 million in debt. They literally have
Hood River?
Hood River County. I have no idea where $1.5 million is. So they're really scrambling and trying to get cut back up. So, okay.
Sell some of their real estate.
I believe they've done a lot of that.
Oh?
Yeah.
I mean, it was real estate outside of.
Over in Grant County, and I
Yeah.
believe they've done a lot of that already. Yeah.
Uh,
And it was, they're in the world of hurt, so, let's see. The other was Frontier Telmat. We actually had a planning session there to develop, you know, future goals, and, you know, future plans, where we want to be. A lot of it is dependent on, you know, covering the eastern region. We have an awful lot of inquiries going on right now in regards to our infrastructure for public safety communications. We have, you know, I think the best in the state. I don't know whether any of you've heard anything about Deschutes County, but they partnered with the state in putting in a digital switch in Bend. It's been it's been a disaster.
You're saying the state gave money?
Yeah, they went in with
For a digital
for a
switch?
digital switch, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they shared to put it in the area. We, you know, that's what we were working on the entire time, was to convince the state that it wasn't really necessary. We come out, brought one of the Deschutes County commissioners out, had him take a look at things. I had conversations with them, well, I guess it was on the night of the 5th. And they're disappointed. They're going to come back and take another look at what we have if they can't get things cleaned up. So that being known, let's see here, am I off on these things? Of course, we had Will Carey's service, which was quite heavy. I had LGPI, I was involved in their particular meeting on board with them, and I let you know that they folded and no longer operating, or are going to be as of June 30th, which appears to League of Oregon Cities. I was with Representative Walden last night. I really didn't get an opportunity to talk with him again. I was late showing up there because I went to the wrong location, didn't know about the new one. Greg, when he finished last night, there was an awful lot of discussion about gun control, some mental health end of things. He talked about the opioid epidemic and working on abilities to be able to take care of it and things that he's working on. Again, most of it was a little bit controversial there. I'm not sure that Representative Walden, I think he was more planned on coming to talk about the farm bill and get information from agricultural people, their input with it. There was one discussion in regards to and I didn't quite pick up on it because I kind of walked in. I took Nick Strader aside about the time. It was in regards to the co-ops and some tax issues.
Yeah,
okay,
there's a tax fix that
okay,
needs to be done because farmers who sell to non-co-ops, I mean, those non-co-op businesses aren't going to get the same, this pass-through thing.
Okay.
Where there's a 20% deduction of the receipts if you go through a co-op, but not if you go through a private.
I see.
Individual. So in that case, if I got a choice, I'm going to go with the co-op. And
right.
I mean, and it's such a big out of balance thing that, I mean, it really puts the private company at a disadvantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, that had gone on. Let's see. That's pretty much, I mean, what I had going on, I guess. There's tomorrow night a town hall with informational meeting Avangrid is putting on in Arlington in regards to, there are 3 things that they're looking at. Phase 2, and all of this is phase 2 of Montag. A wind, additional wind, a wind solar combination, a wind, solar, and battery storage combination. So they're supposed to supply some information tomorrow night. I have it scheduled for 5:30 at the Ronquist building. So it might be a good idea for us to be there.
I'm planning on going.
Yeah, I plan on being there. So anyway, that's me. Mike, how about you?
Well, I didn't go to any meetings this past couple of weeks, but I did talk to the auditor a little bit about looking at the audit. Maybe start thinking about our financial statements and whatnot. And I noticed in this, I was having a hard time finding the value of our roads in this financial statements. And what I found out was that really the only part that shows in our financial statements is the improvements we've made since 2004. And so I asked myself, well, what is our biggest asset in this county? And it's probably the roads. And we really don't have a good reserve fund set up for the roads. And then I was looking at the buildings too. Here we're talking about putting a roof on this building, redoing the roof. We're talking probably 100,000 or so. We don't have like a building maintenance reserve fund. And and this is some of the things I think we need to think about. I mean, most of the time we look at our budget, we're just thinking annually, you know?
Right.
But when you look at these roads and you go to maintenance and preservation of them, you've got to be looking at a longer time frame, a lot longer time frame, because you go out and pave a road and then maybe 10 years later you got to go chip seal it. But you can only do a few miles of chip seal with the money that we can pull together in an annual budget that we can carry over with federal dollars that are made available through the state exchange. Correct. And that's the kind of thing we do. And so this is something I think we need to be building into our budget is some reserve funds for these assets that we have, our infrastructure. You know, maybe it's even going to include fiber, but we need separate funds too for these different reserves. And that's I talked to the auditors about this deal, you know, and he said, you know, that's a really good idea, Mike. I know other places have reserve funds. And so anyway, and then I look at, besides our property taxes, we have these, what I term as windfall. Monies, host fees from the waste, it's a windfall.
SIP fees?
And the SIP fees.
Yep.
They're both windfalls, and you know, they're not here forever. And that's where we should be looking at to start these reserves. You've got to take these windfalls when they come along and make good use of them for, you know, and our infrastructure is something that we're falling down, especially in terms of the roads, and be able to have them maintained through the future. That's been the biggest problem with ODOT too, is the maintenance and preservation. I mean, they struggle all the time to have enough money to keep it up.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to be able to rely upon the state for any big numbers. We found that out like with the bridge deal. That his bridges are not used enough to get on the radar at something above the county level. So we've got to make sure we've got the money here to take care of these things. So
I agree. I talked to Dewey about numerous occasions, his 5-year plan, and he's got really that well put together. We just don't have the reserve funds, and that's a conversation to have with the budget officer.
But we have to have, if we tell the budget officer we want this put into the budget, that's something that, you know, we can give you direction on that.
Okay.
And that's why I bring it to the court.
Yeah.
You know, as also, I mean, it's just something I've been thinking about, and I mean, I've talked to Nathan too.
Yeah.
About this and ask him, you know, where's these at? I mean, where's this asset? It doesn't exist. But there is a replacement value that could be established, and we're working on that too, to bring that value in, to give us an idea.
Yeah, I really haven't thought too awful much about, you know, roads, so I will step back on it, because that was one thing that I'd asked Dewey about, was in his 5-year plan, so that we had it at budget time, and we knew with some of these SIP funds, as we began setting them aside, of which I wanted to do what you're suggesting, develop funds that said, reserve funds that said this is exactly where they're going to be going. We have the Pennington Reserve Fund, which technically we don't have. I mean, we have an old policy that's involved with it that we really need to get completely updated. We also need to develop these, you're just talking, roads were not something I had thought about, to be honest with you. Yeah. But I had thought about buildings, new windows within the courthouse.
Right.
All of these are things that
just like when we put the sidewalk down
and
here.
we can do this, I think we can do this in one fund that creates different line items within it for just that very thing. You probably know more about it than what I do.
We used to have, this is a simple example, but we would have like a sanitation reserve fund, And it would be for replacement of our garbage truck, because that was a big expenditure for us. And every year, we would transfer $10,000 at the end of 10 years, which is about how long, I think, at that point in time, they would last. We'd have $100,000 and we could go buy a truck.
Yeah. And see, that's really, I mean, you know, for instance, the windows of the courthouse, but also we're in a position, Commissioner, that it was like, well, if you want to do that, just, you know, here's, the funds are there kind of thing. And I remember thinking, well, that's not really the way I want to,
Well,
to
Dennis,
do this.
you know, Dennis was wanting us to save money, but if we specify
What
this
does he
much
say for?
this, but the problem too that you gotta be careful with is if you have this reserve fund with different line items, then somebody comes along and steals out of this line item and puts it into this one, when maybe we shouldn't be doing that, even though at the moment it seems like the thing to do. And probably with roads, you know, the road department being quite a bit separate from the rest of the, you know, the general fund, that we probably would have to set up the reserve separately for, I mean, we already have an equipment replacement fund. I mean, and that's been critical for it.
Okay.
And
And
also
then there's the
keeps,
special project roads fund, which maybe that could be renamed.
Yeah.
what's that?
There's a special projects roads fund, which maybe could be renamed something other than
Yeah,
special
true.
projects.
Right.
But the thing of it is, this has got to be a big number compared to any of the other reserves. I mean, any of the rest of our assets are very small. You know, once we pull together this value, you're going to see that roads make the rest of the assets of the county.
Yeah. I think what you'll find, Commissioner, is if we end up going this, there's already large amounts of funds that can go into this right now. It's just that we haven't really instructed the budget officer to develop these particular fund streams to get that accomplished.
So-
And with that being said, I think, you know, at our next meeting, I have a list of things downstairs that I really think that that's what we should be doing. And we'll have if you'll have the conversation with Dewey so that we begin implementing some of his 5-year plan and making sure that we have the funding sources that go into it. So,
It's more than a 5-year plan.
yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, yeah.
With,
Right.
I mean, 5-year plans, yeah, that's essential too. But you gotta have this plan for the road maintenance and preservation, which is probably the longer time frame. And we do already have that with Cedar Springs.
Mhm.
You know, we put money there, and I'm not even sure if we're putting enough into it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the kind of things we need to, Dewey needs to work on to help put this picture together for us.
Right.
Yeah, and I have talked to him.
Yeah,
I definitely have talked to him.
Yeah. our
I got him
maintenance-
excited.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Okay, so, but what I can tell you is right now, there are the funds to probably get into each one of those programs. I firmly believe in everything that you're saying, it's just that it hasn't been quite as receptive all the way through. So, but we'll definitely get that going. Anything else? I mean, it's 2 o'clock, I do
So
have.
do you want something on the next agenda or some budget, preliminary budget?
I think it's
direction?
important, yeah, that we get that accomplished, so let's put something on the agenda and really create.
That'll be where we are talking budget though, right? The next meeting?
No, it's not really on our budget calendar.
Not the budget calendar, but I mean, what the court does talking about budget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So
let's,
that'd be at least one of the topics under that
yep,
main topic of the
right,
court's budget
yep.
ideas, yeah.
So I think.
I just thought I needed a
Simple
little,
enough.
I took some time this last week to talk to some people about it,
Yeah,
kind of form my picture.
yeah, again, it was something that, you know, I've been pushing for a while, so I wasn't quite getting the cooperation, and I'm hoping that now I get it. So,
Did, I've been in and out of the room so much, I don't know where the lease agreement on the concrete grass plot, where that got left. Did you guys approve it?
I think we
Yeah, we
Did they vote on
approved,
that?
we voted on the agreement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I did just
Yeah.
notice on there, there's that,
Yeah.
that thing I highlighted probably needs to be deleted, that, just that part of that sentence.
Yeah. Okay.
It just says,
Which was formerly occupied and used by
that was
leases.
for,
Sorry.
WI.
I had my chance.
It's all
All
right.
right, so, yeah, I think I'm the only one that signs this. Yeah. Okay. All right, good.
Good.
Nothing else, we'll adjourn.
I need a clarification. On the fiber project, is Gilliam County waiting for us, for the city, to complete negotiations before you sign the contract?
Yes,
They're
yes.
okay, so we have a problem because to use you guys won't, so far Joe and Jim will not send us your documents, so we don't know what to change.
Tentatively, you guys work an agreement very similar to what we did with Inland on what it is that you want, where you want endpoints, all of those things, so it can go within.
I know that, but are the county documents available to the city? Because you mentioned if we wanted to use part of your documents as changes or not. Because if you're waiting for us to sign our document and make all of our changes.
Have you guys, as soon as we hear from Blake saying that virtually you guys have worked everything out and he's comfortable with what your asks are, then yeah, we'll turn those over.
Okay. So how are we going to finish our negotiations if we don't know if there's changes in yours that we're making? I mean, we already know. So that brings me to my third question. The fiber count and the money has never been a formal motion at the county court level. Are we okay on the money? I mean, you've never had a motion in open session that it's going to be the 1.288 million and what fiber repair? I mean, we've heard from Joe that it's 12 fiber repair, but is the court ready to make, is that in the agreement that we don't know about?
Is that, have you agreed with Inland on that split?
Well, that was our agreement, the county's agreement. We needed to agree on the split before we gave it to Inland. I mean, we're fine with the 12 fiber repairs each.
Mm-hmm.
We're also fine with the dollar amount that we tentatively agreed upon. Our council made a motion to do the 618,000. So I just need to know where you guys are on this because it's never been formally discussed. I mean, it's been discussed, but it's never been formally approved, the dollar and the fiber count.
Right, simply because we're apparently waiting for the contract to come back from Inland Development and legal counsel to say, okay, this is good, this.
So when it comes back from Inland, can we get a copy of it? It won't be released to the public.
You know, I thought that we would have information back from Blake saying that, you know, everything's a go with the city, everything's a go with the county. The two of them have come to an agreement that meets, and that's what I know, Catherine. I don't know. I'm not in the middle of this, to be perfectly honest.
So I'm confused of how we're supposed to get our agreement when we don't know for sure that the county court has approved the money in the fiber.
Okay.
We approved that, we've made it, our council has said yes. I guess I just need some sort of assurance that the money, 1.288 plus, is available and that the fiber repair split is available.
As far as I know, that's
Okay.
the way we see it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want the contracts to come back with all of a sudden, you know, we have in our contract something and something else is in the county. You know, the county and the city need to have some conversation.
Right.
And I think we're done, but is that the amount? I guess I just need to know what your amounts are in your contract so we know what, I mean, our amount is at 618,000.
Yeah, what.
Our
the
council
bill-
has approved it.
Yeah, the bill was $1,903,000 and some whatever. So whatever you're not paying, we're paying.
So just one more time. The contracts of the county between you and Inland are not going to be made available to us until you sign them.
No, they'll be made available prior to, once Inland says
Oh, okay.
the two entities are together and meshed and things are going to be fine, it will be made available to you.
Okay.
So as soon as we hear from Blake saying that everything is good on both ends of this, you will get what we have.
I thought, for some reason, I was thinking at the last meeting, didn't we say it was okay to share the information with them, with other?
I thought we were having some conversations on that. I My,
Maybe not in
Yeah.
open session?
even though it said on the things, it said they had put on there just for our
Yeah.
clients, it seemed like,
Yeah,
first of all, we shared with the first thing was if they agreed with that, what, some order? The order, was that it?
The milestones?
The order?
all I'm
Milestones,
telling you is what
We got the milestones.
come from Joe after conversations with Blake, saying that I needed to make sure that we had everything in line with the city. And that's what Joe said that day, was that we were waiting for everything to be in line with the city and the release from inland development.
Okay, and Blake told our person that as soon as it's approved by you, then he would release it. So we're kind
Blake
of.
would release it? Why would Blake release it? We're gonna.
No, Blake said at that point, approved by you, then you guys, he assumed that's when you would release it to us, but not until it was approved by you. To you being the county court. So anyway, I guess I just need to know when it can be released, so I can get it to Adam. So if there's any changes that Jim made on the final IRUs, or it doesn't, we're renegotiating, but I thought Joe said in the last meeting that, hey, there might be some wording that the city might want to use.
Right,
And if we want to use it, we can't use it unless we see it.
right.
So,
Right,
I mean,
right.
I guess the only thing is if we can see it or give it to Adam so he can look at it, that would be great. It's not going to be a public document at this point, it's just to the city.
Okay, if I hear from Joe, who's heard from Blake, saying that the city and inland have come to an agreement, I'll definitely send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good?
Okay. I'm good. All right.
Okay, adjourn.